It's almost spring, and for many of us that means agonizing allergies, or if you're like me, year-round allergies, which I'm constantly experiencing. While this video won't go into treatments for your snotty woes, I will, however, be sharing my whale tissue cozy, because when you're in a sneezing fit and reaching for a tissue, the sight of this adorable whale will, if you can see through your watery eyes, will put a smile on your face. And you could use travel size tissues to put into this whale cozy, or you can also just take tissues from a larger box of Kleenex and just fold them up and then make sure that you're pulling one of them through the spout so that it's super cute. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you do, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's go make a whale tissue cozy before my next sneezing fit. For this crochet project, you're going to need some worsted weight yarn, category 4. For this cozy, I'm using some leftover yarn. This is Lion brand Vanna's Choice in linen. And for this original whale cozy I made several years ago, I used Bernat Super Value in color Sky. You'll also need a bit of black yarn just to add the mouth and eyes. I'll be using a size 3.75 millimeter crochet hook, a yarn needle of course, and you'll also need a button and some needle and thread to sew it on. And of course you'll need a pair of scissors and tissues to put inside your tissue cozy. The body is worked in rounds, so you're not going to turn at the end. I forgot to mention you will need a stitch marker so that you can keep track of rounds. The starting chain does not count as a stitch, and so you'll make the first stitch into the same space as the joining slip stitch. We're going to start round 1 by working 9 chains. And then I'm going to work into the second chain from the hook and work a single crochet into the second chain and into each chain across. In this last stitch, I'm going to work 3 single crochet in the last chain. So that's 3 single crochet into this last chain, and then I'm going to continue working on the bottom of the foundation chain. So I'm going to work a single crochet into each of these spaces along the bottom. And then in this last space, I'm going to work 2 single crochet. And join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. So that is round 1 done, and that is basically this part of the whale. Okay, round 2, we're going to start with a chain 1, and again this does not count as a stitch, so I'm going to work 2 single crochet into that same space where we slip stitch, then single crochet into the next 6 stitches, Then make 2 single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. So we're increasing and creating a rounded end. Now single crochet into the next 6 stitches. And then we're going to make 2 single crochet into these last 2 stitches. And then slip stitch into the first stitch. And now for rounds 3 to 6, I'm just going to single crochet into each stitch around. So chain 1 and single crochet in each stitch. And this would be a great time to put in my stitch markers so I don't lose track of the rounds. So again, rounds 3 to 6, single crochet in each stitch around. So I'm going to go work on that, and I will see you back at the start of round 7. Alright, here is our whale cozy so far. This is up to round 6, and we're about to start round 7. So in round 7, chain 1, and again this does not count as a stitch, and we're going to single crochet into the next 3 stitches. So into that same stitch where we did the slip stitch, then 2 and 3 single crochet. Then we're going to chain 5 and skip 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then single crochet into the remaining stitches. So this is the spout. This is going to be your little whale spout where the tissues come out of. So that's round 7. And then for round 8, we're just going to continue with chain 1, single crochet into each stitch. And of course, when we get to these chains, this is up to you. I go either way. I'll either single crochet into the individual chains, or I'll just kind of work my stitches around the chain, just make sure it's the same number of chains as you have here. But in this case, I'm just going to continue single crocheting into the 5 chains that I made in the previous round, and then continue into each stitch to the end. Okay, and that is the end of round 8. So you can see we've got the spout for the tissues, and now we just need to continue working on the body just to give it some length. So for rounds 9 to 20, I'm just going to single crochet around without any increases or anything, just to build it up. So I'm going to work on that, and I will meet you back here for the end of round 20. Alright, so this is the end of round 20. And at this point, I'm going to cut the yarn. So here's our little whale cozy so far. And at this point, I think I'm also going to add the smile in the eyes. So I'm going to grab my black yarn, and I've got my yarn needle, and I'm going to start off with a knot so that when I thread it through the strands, through the stitches, ideally it's not gonna come out and just hold it in place while I work. So I think what I'm going to do is start with one of the eyes here. And just make a few stitches. Very simple, just as long as it looks like a little eye on the side. And it's kind of handy to have this little hole here so I can bring my needle through there for now. But there's one eye. Super simple, super easy, doesn't have to be complicated. And then I'm going to just bring my yarn out to start making the mouth off to the side from about, I guess, you could say the ends of the first round. And so I'm also just going to use that as a guide using the foundation stitches. And you can use any stitching type you prefer. And okay, that is the mouth, and then I'm gonna try my best to line up the second eye so it's about here, I think. And again, just a couple of stitches this way. Okay. And then I'm just gonna do my best to flip this inside out so I can make a knot here. And just weave it in a couple of times. Okay, got my yarn. Very cute. Okay, now I'm going to create the fins and the back closure that also happens to include the flukes or the tails. All right, let's work on the fins first. Okay, for the fins, we're going to start by making a chain of 5. Then single crochet into the second chain from the hook and into the next 2 chains. Then we're going to make 3 single crochet in the last chain. And then we're just going to work into the foundation chain on the bottom, so in these last 3 spaces. And there's our first fin. So I'm going to cut this yarn and leave a bit to tie it on later to the body. And this is all I have left of this particular yarn, so I'm really hoping that I can finish all the pieces with this amount of yarn. So let's be a little bit more frugal with this. So I'm going to use my yarn needle just to bring the yarn ends through into the body, and I think what I'm going to do is just tie these ends together to knot it, since I don't know if I have enough to sew things in, but let's try that out and see what happens. Okay, I think I do have enough to sew this fin anyway. All right, we got the two fins relatively straight on, sort of. And now this is all I have left for the tail. I'm gonna need to go and look for a similar yarn. I definitely don't have any more of this exact yarn, so I'm gonna have to go and see what I've got in my yarn stash. So be right back. Okay, I have found this yarn that is a light gray. Definitely not the same shade, but let's just keep this between us. The next thing I'm going to do is add the tail. For the tail, I'm going to be picking up stitches on the last round from the body. So I like to do standing single crochet or standing stitches when I'm picking up new stitches, but you can also just pull up a loop and work a chain. So I'm going to do this on the 5th or the 6th stitch of round 20. So if we go back to, this is the start of the round, so 4, 5, 6, so I think, yeah, maybe the 5th stitch here. So we'll make a single crochet into 7 stitches. And now row 2, chain 1, and we're going to turn this time for the tail. The tail will be worked in rows. So chain 1 and decrease into these 2 stitches. Then single crochet into the next 3 stitches. And decrease into the last 2 stitches. Chain 1 and turn. And we're going to do that again, decrease. Single crochet and decrease in the last 2. And row 4, chain 1, then decrease and single crochet into the last stitch. Then chain 1, single crochet into each of the 2 stitches, and then we're going to chain 8. And slip stitch it to this 2nd stitch. And this is basically the closure for the button for the opening. So now I can just cut this yarn and weave in the end. So for the flukes, for each one, I'm going to start by leaving kind of a long tail because I'm going to use this to sew them on. So I'll leave a bit of yarn and then I'm going to chain 7. And slip stitch into the second chain and half double crochet into the next chain. Then double crochet into the next 3 chains. And in the last chain, we're going to make a half double crochet, a single crochet, and a half double crochet. Then continuing to work on the foundation, on the base on the other side of the foundation chain, we're going to double crochet into the next 3 spaces. Then half double crochet into the next space. And slip stitch into this next space. And then we can cut this yarn and weave in the ends. And there's 1 fluke done. All right, so I'm gonna make the other fluke. Okay, so to sew on the flukes, you can put them onto this tail. So directly on this piece here or a little bit higher up. I think for this particular whale that I'm working on, I think I'll be putting them somewhere here, like so. All right, here is our whale cozy almost done. Now the last thing to do is add a button. So this, you might want to place your tissues in first if you're using a tissue packet. Or another thing that you can do, you don't always have to use a tissue packet, like the travel size. You can also use tissues from a box and you can just fold them together and then put them into the tissue cozy. So using this as a guide, I sort of placed the button around rounds 19 and 20 in between. So I think I might just do that for this one, maybe a little bit lower, like this. And here it is, all done. Now it just needs some tissues. Okay, so I'm gonna steal these tissues since they're handy, just because I want to try them out in this new cozy. So the way that I folded these, I actually took these from a bigger box of tissues, and I have them folded in half and then just kind of sandwiched in so that when this one gets pulled out, then this one ideally will also come out. So I have them sort of layered like this. Fold this top one like this so that I can pull it through the spout. Okay, there we have it. A brand new tissue cozy in the shape of a little whale, and the tissues come out of the spout. I don't know what it is about this. It makes me so happy. Now when someone asks you for a tissue, you can hold this out and put a smile on their face. Alright, that is it for me. I hope you have enjoyed this video on how to crochet a whale tissue cozy. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this kind of crochet content. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.